Hey everyone, Paul Eyes, TableSoccerUSA.shop, and today my goal is to go over a quick set of simple rules for playing Subbuteo table soccer and get people started playing. These rules can be very complicated, the full game, but my objective is always to get people playing and then kind of build on from that. So we're going to be going through those quick rules. This will not be perfect. There'll be lots of things you'll need to look up maybe as you progress, but hopefully my goal is this will actually get you playing or get you to a club meet, or this could even be like a little homework assignment before somebody comes to play if you want to use it like that. But it's just about getting people playing really quickly and starting to enjoy the game. So we will have links in the description to fuller sets of rules. If you want to look those up, you can. And let's get to it, okay? So first of all, let's talk about flicking the figure. To flick the figure, you're only allowed to use either your index finger or your middle finger and only the nail of that finger to strike the figure. You must strike the figure at the very base down here. If you touch the figure first, that is actually a foul or a free kick, especially if you hit the ball as a result of that. So the movement is with the index finger, just the hand should be stationary. That's part of the rules, okay? And striking the ball like so. You are not allowed to use the side of the finger or the back of the finger. That would be a free kick or change of possession to the other team. Starting and playing a match. Typical match lengths are 12-minute halves or 15-minute halves, but you know what? You do you. You do what you want to do. If you want to play 45-minute halves or whatever, go for it and have some fun with it. But that's typical in the game. To establish who's going to take the kickoff, you could flip a coin, or many players do. They have the ball, and one will put the ball in one of their hands, and the other opponent will choose which hand it's in, and that will determine who's going to take the kickoff. To take a kickoff, you can put figures in the center here for the team that has won the right to the kickoff. And normally possession is 3 flicks in a row, but from restarts, and the kickoff counts as one, you can only use that first figure one time. Then you can start your 3 flicks with each figure, as we'll get into next when we talk about possession. So that would be starting a match. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about possession here, how you keep it and how you can lose it. Okay, so we have white team has the ball here. You can flick one figure a maximum of 3 times in a row, and then you must use another figure, okay? Now, could you have the ball here with one figure and have it strike another one? Would that reset this for 3 flicks and that figure for 3 flicks? Yes, it would, and it's a common technique used by players to help maintain possession. Losing possession when you have it, you can lose it in the following ways. You can, of course, miss the ball, and that will be what we call a change, okay? Another change to the yellow team in this instance would be the ball actually going into the next figure, okay? And finally would be going out of bounds. That would be a throw into the other team in that instance. So that is possession. Let's talk about defense. Here we have white team still has the ball and they have possession. Every time they flick and hopefully hit the ball, the opposing team, which is on defense, they don't have the ball right now, and in this case, the yellow figured team, they have a right to what we call a blocking or defensive flick. Okay, so, and the purpose of these flicks is not to hit the ball, and we'll talk about that in a moment, but is to make life difficult for the team in possession. So let's say here another flick, we'll play out a couple of flicks here. A good block here may be to do that, and then we know we only have one more flick with that figure, etc. So that is the purpose, and to force hopefully a change of possession or just make life difficult, if you will. Some common scenarios with this, with defensive flicks, are what if you accidentally strike the ball? If you do so, then the team who is still in possession, which is the white team, has the right to either play on, because this might be a more favorable scenario, or to call what we term a back, which is where the figure would go back to where they were flicked from, and the ball back, and then play continues. White still has the ball, okay? So that is a common scenario for that. You're not allowed to strike the ball at that stage. You're also not allowed to, even if you do it inadvertently, bounce off your own defensive figure. Again, a back can be called, or maybe in this case, it may play on and just try to get over the shooting line. Scoring a goal. So in table soccer, you have a line that is outside of the penalty area, and we actually call it the shooting line, often termed that. To score a goal, the ball has to be at the origin of the play, has to be completely over the line and in what we call the scoring zone. Okay, so you must be in that area. If it is on the line itself, it is not, again, a term that we use. It is not called shootable. Okay, so the ball has to be all the way over. The figure, though, can be outside of that zone to take the shot, and it's still an eligible shot at goal, and you can score a goal from that. So let's see here if I can get a goal. Yes, yay, I scored. All right. Now, a very common question for beginners is, what if I have a figure here and I take a shot from the halfway line, and we'll just kind of play that out, and the ball goes from the halfway line and actually strikes a figure either of their own or of the opponent and goes into the goal. Well, remember, the key rule is that the ball at the beginning of play has to originate in the shooting zone. In this case, if that was just a deflection and it went in, it would actually just be a goal kick to the defensive team in this case. So you can't have a shot that just ricochets and goes in the goal. Okay, so let's play out a goal kick. We have here the white team with a potential shot on goal, and it's a terrible shot. And it just goes over the end line. In this case, it would be a goal kick, just like regular soccer. You'd place the ball right here. And in this instance, both teams have the right to reposition and actually pick up their figures and place them where they would like on the field. Then it's typical to use one of the figures from the outfield to take the goal kick, sometimes more accurate, or you are allowed to, but you don't see it as much because it's not really a flat surface, the goalkeeper to kind of move it out and take the goal kick like so. Offense always places their figures first, and then defense places their figures where they want, and the figures have to be a minimum of 2 fingers width away when you restart the game, and that is how you take a goal kick. All right, next. A corner kick. So here we have white on offense, and there is a defender in the way impeding, and we take the flick, and the ball went off yellow last. That would be a corner. So you place the ball in the corner area, as we're used to in regular soccer. Then the offense, which in this case is white, would nominate a figure, and usually it's typical to kind of hold it up and show your opponent what you're going to do, who's going to take the corner. White then plays 3 flicks, and a lot of people think, are these optional, where they are not. You need to take 3 flicks. So 1, and they go first, 1, and then 2, and can you use the same figure twice? You can. 3. Then defense will go 1, 2, and 3. And then you ask your opponent if you're ready, if you're taking the corner kick, just as a courtesy, and you start play from there. Oh, looks like a change. Throw-ins. For a throw-in to occur, you need to have both figures and the ball in the same quadrant. And when I use the term quadrant, the table soccer pitch is split up into fourths, so that's where you get the quads from. So this is a quadrant here, a quadrant here, a quadrant here, and a quadrant here, okay? You need to have all 3 of these elements, both figures and the ball, in a specific quadrant. If I do that, and then force a throw, this would be a throw to white. If, however, let's give a scenario where you have a figure right here, the white figure, and they're in possession, and a yellow figure in a different quadrant. This white figure is technically in 2 quadrants. It's on the line, and that's how we interpret that with table soccer. If I were to try to force a throw here, that would not be a throw for white. It would be for yellow, because it's what we call the quadrant rule. So again, for a throw-in to be legal, everything has to be in the same quadrant. So let's say we have forced a throw here. How does that play out? You would then, on offense, white has the ball here and they've forced a legal throw. You would then nominate a figure, typically pick one up off the field and hold it like so, kind of inform your opponent that they're going to take the throw in. You then have a choice, similar to a free kick, where you can either say, and you do have to communicate, I'm going to take a positional flick or not. If you don't take the positional flick, you may actually have a real advantage and may not want to. You don't want to give your opponent a chance for one block even. You may just choose to play on, okay? And you can do that. Or you have to communicate again with your opponent and say, I am going to take one positional flick. Okay, so let's say we have the ball right here. I'm going to move this figure. Defense would then have the right to take their block, and then you would play your throw-in from there. Fouls. Here we have white in possession. White is trying to strike the ball cleanly here. However, if you flick your figure and it bounces off an opposing figure, or for that matter, by the way, your own figure, and then strikes the ball, that would be deemed a foul. Let's see if I can play that out. So this would be an example of a foul. I struck that figure first. I'm not allowed to do that and then carry them onto the ball. Or even on my own figure, this would be a foul. So I'm not allowed to do that. The way that plays out is where the ball was actually touched is the point of the foul. And yellow team here would then select a figure and nominate, we can nominate a figure to take it, lay it down like so. And you then have an option. Do you just want to play on and you can place this figure wherever you would like around the ball? Or would you like to take, you have the right to one positional flick, and you have to communicate that with your opponent. Okay, so I'm going to say here we're going to take a positional flick. There's my player nominated who's going to take it, and I'm going to say I'm going to flick a figure, and then defense has the right to a block. When you have, only if you've done it this way, if you've actually moved a figure, you have the right then to have any figure closer than 2 finger widths away from the ball to be moved, so you have a little bit of room for your free kick. That's only if you choose to make a positional flick, and then we play from there. The role of the goalkeeper. So we have this rotted goalkeeper, and the goalkeeper has to stay in this imaginary 6-yard box. We know it's much smaller, of course, on a soccer table, is to stay in that area. They cannot come out. If they do, and the ball accidentally strikes, it would actually be an indirect free kick right there, which is kind of one of those weird rules, but it is the case. All right, so we have that. We have, though, 2 goalkeepers, and they are interchangeable. We have a figure in the modern rules of the game called a spare goalkeeper, and it's a figure that you can actually flick. And the way to think about it is that these guys are actually the same guy, okay? And you can use this spare goalkeeper figure in the following way. Let's say the ball has ended up here, and there's been a change in possession, and you need to communicate with your opponent that you're going to take out the rotted goalkeeper, and you actually physically need to take it out. Then you can use the spare goalkeeper, and you can move that figure, place them anywhere within inside this box, so you can actually lift them up and do that. And in an imaginary line going back, but here we actually do have a dotted line going back. They could even be back here. So I'm going to place it here, and I can play like 3 flicks with that figure if I need, and that's my spare goalkeeper. Now, you need to communicate if you, after making a flick, if you are going to take them back. You would take that back and put your rotted goalkeeper back in, and then the defense has a right to a defensive block in that case, by the way, okay? Let's say here that you are putting your goalie back in and you miss. That's a change of possession, of course, as we know, and you are left with an unguarded goal for a maximum of 5 flicks where offense can try to score a goal basically with nobody being there, okay? If it goes after 5 flicks, you can bring your goalie back. A little complicated there, but there we go, using the goalkeeper. Offside. In regular soccer, offside is in effect or comes into effect from the halfway line. But in table soccer, it only comes into effect from the shooting zone or the shooting line right here, okay? So it's a little bit further up the field. In this situation, we have a white figure that is at an offside position, which is right here. It is behind the second to last defender, because this one counts as a defender too, but there needs to be two there, so it is technically offside. If I play the ball over this line in this position, then that is an offside, okay? It would actually be, even if it didn't get to the figure, that would still be offside once you go past that second to last defender. Okay, so that would be a free kick in effect here, and a change of possession, of course, and that would play out as a free kick like we have shown before. All right. How could you get out of this situation? Though the rules allow a white figure here in an offside position. You actually have the right to do two things to try to correct yourself from being offside and continue with your possession. You have to communicate with your opponent. You have the right to what they call an onside flick, or sometimes referred to as a tick flick, and you have the right to 3 of those in any possession to correct any offside position. So here we have an offside figure. I'm going to flick this figure into an onside position and communicate I'm taking a tick flick, like so. Whenever you do that, your opponent has the right to a defensive block. Okay? As play kind of moves from here, by the way, you cannot use the ticked figure to strike the ball next. You must use another figure first. You also have another now you can do that 3 times, remember, in a possession. You have one more option. You need to communicate it clearly, but you can use this figure and just say, I'm not using a tick flick, but I'm going to play the ball. And when you've played the ball right there, you have landed in an onside position and you've got back onside. So that is the very basics or starting point. Okay, guys, so there we have it. That is playing very, very quickly, getting up to speed with the basic rules. As I said, the objective of this is to just get people playing, maybe look at it ahead of time, and then they'll have some idea of what they're doing when they first come out to play. So that's a great use for this particular thing. And then you could, of course, look through at your leisure at the full extended rules, which will put some links in the description for you so you can take a look at that and you just kind of build on that. But my goal is always let's get people playing, get people to play with a local club, get a school league started. This would be a great way to start, just showing them this, and then, hey, come on out, and we'll build on that. Let's play a game. So that's the way it should be, I think. And enjoy yourself out there with your table soccer. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so if you want more content like this. And maybe a like, whatever, all those algorithms for YouTube. Okay? Thanks, guys. Take care.
And here comes Hurst. He's got some fiddler on the pitch. They think it's all over. It is now. It's 4.